Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and if you're watching this video, you might be someone that wants to work for Chipotle or already works for Chipotle, or just someone who's just tagging along with my channel, which welcome. But here's something that I wish I knew before starting at Chipotle. Let's dive right into it. So for context, I worked at Chipotle from May of 2021 to April of 2024. So it's roughly about 3 years. And at the time, I just wanted to look for some part-time job that paid decently for a high school student. And a lot of the places I applied to back then did not hire anyone that was under 18. And I just wanted some financial independence. I don't want to rely on my parents every time if I want something for myself. And also, a lot of my friends back then worked for Chipotle. Some of them were managers, and that just made me curious as to how working for this company would be. And before you know it, I got hired, and here's what I want to share. So, for the application process, I personally went in store and I also called the store that was closest to me for a potential opportunity. And they both directed me to their online application system. So, I would recommend maybe call the store to see if they're hiring, which normally they always are, and apply. Usually they would, after the application, get back to you either on the spot, a few days, or even a few weeks, and that's just up to the store's demand. Something that I definitely recommend studying up is for the interview. Typically, for the interview, at least in my experience, after they scheduled a day with me, I show up, and usually they would have me wait in front for a little bit. Then the GM would come out with pen and papers to ask questions about you. And some of the potential questions are like, what are your hobbies? What are your schools? Like, what school do you go to? Do you have any previous work experience and things like that? And also, like, why you chose Chipotle and you want to work for Chipotle. For that, I suggest studying up for like the history, the facts, and at least have a reason or two that why you want to work for them. And also, they gave me some like situations with customers, like how you would deal with different scenarios. And lastly, they asked me my schedule, like what days I was available to work and stuff like that. And that's all I remember for the interview part. And if you do end up getting through the interview process, congrats, you are hired. And for me, I got notified through phone call. I'm pretty sure everyone would get a phone call if they did get the position. For me, the first day, it was an onboarding process, which meant a lot of computer training, the store tour, and a lot of the facts about the store and the company. They'll pass out your uniform typically by then and give you a lot of policy for you to read and to go home and review. For me, I did not get actual hands on experience on my first shift. That does not mean that everybody will get the same treatment. They might be able to give you hands on experience the first day, but it all depends. But typically, the first shift, actual shift, is that they'll pair you with a trainer to follow you through everything. You're going to be watching them through the process, the first shift. And then the second one, they'll typically help you out. And it's kind of like divide the work half half. And then the third shift, you're just going to be doing the work yourself with the trainer observing you. Typically, 3 to 4 shifts is what you'll get with the trainer. And after that, you'll typically get guidance from other employees or managers if you're struggling, so don't worry if your training ended and you still don't know what you're doing. In terms of the pay, I started out at 14.65 and then they raised my salary to 16 an hour, and then after California raised their minimum wage, uh it went to 20. But that was when I like almost left, so I only got 1 week of that benefit. It's okay. Also, you would be getting tips. It's not a lot because it's a fast casual restaurant. It's not a full service, so you'll be expecting anywhere from $1 to $8 per shift, depending on the locations. Some stores that are faster are gonna get more, but there's also days where you won't get any tips. Now, if you get hired, you're probably gonna be wondering what kind of roles you'll be assigned to. So typically, you'll be hired as a crew member, and the roles include grill. which are people who cook, and prep, which are people who cut the vegetables or wash dishes. Also, line, which includes tortilla and salsa. You're just going to be in charge of actually, getting the bowls and the burritos ready for the customers. The DML, which they call the digital make line, going to be in charge of online orders, as well as cashier, which is just in charge of the register. In terms of the managers, there's KM, which means kitchen manager, and then there's SM, which are shift managers, apprentice, which are pretty much the GM's helper. They also do a lot of other things. And then there's the general manager. Above them are restaurateurs who are in charge of multiple stores. But as a crew member, these are probably going to be what you'll be seeing. Now that we covered the roles of the store, you're probably going to be wondering what kind of an experience you're going to be getting from working at Chipotle. And let me just tell you that every store is going to be different. There's going to be stores with that are busy. There's going to be stores that are so slow that you want to fall asleep. And it also depends on the shift. There were shifts where if I were paired up with a good shift, then I didn't even want to go home at the end of the shift. But when I paired up with the bad group, I just wanted to go home like immediately. I wanted to get off. I just couldn't wait. So every day is going to be different. There are going to be days where you're just not wanting to go to work, and that's okay, but every store is different. Now, during my time at my store, I had three different GMs, and everybody had their own style. So I would definitely say that the leadership has a lot to do with your experience in your particular store. But the most positive experience is definitely that as an employee, you get free Chipotle and you also get 50% off while you're off. So that's like a really great benefit. All right, let's get into the pros and cons of this job. Beginning with the pros, you're going to have a decent pay as your first job. This is definitely not the highest paid, but for a beginner level position, they pay pretty good. And your tuition is going to be covered if you're a full time employee, or you might have to meet a certain hour if you're part time. For that, I suggest asking the store GM or call the store if you're interested in that benefit. There's also room for growth, which means you could promote to manager and GM or even higher, but it is pretty demanding. Whether it's worth it or not, it's really up to the individual and the team that they have around them. And also, obviously, you can't forget about the healthy food. I would say that Chipotle fed me for the past 3 years and even now, and I appreciate them a lot for it. After getting to the pros, let's get into the cons a little bit now because there's definitely cons that could be a deal breaker for people who might want to work here. So, number one, the rushes. Let me just tell you, the rush hour at Chipotle could be the worst. It could feel like a never ending hassle. It depends on the store that you're at. For my store, it was a hit or miss. There's days where I wanted to die, but there's days where I'm just chilling with nothing to do and bored. But if you're next to a store that's has a tourist attraction nearby or near a college campus or a school, you can expect a lot of foot traffic and people. So if you're not good with working in a fast-paced environment, might not be the best option. Number two, it can get very dirty. You're dealing with food the whole time, and if you're prep, you can be dealing with some nasty leftover stuff after you wash the dishes and dealing with the trash. So if you're someone that likes hygiene, you do not like to touch dirty and leftover food or rotten food, probably not the best. Number three, you could be assigned to a bad store or a bad crew, and this is something that you can probably spot from your interview or just going to the store. You can probably just tell by the vibes of the store how people are working, if they're motivated or they look all tired. It all depends, but definitely something to watch out for. Number four, there's rude customers. But with any fast food or retail or a lot of the other type of fields of work, you're gonna get rude customers. You're gonna be getting people yelling at your face for not putting enough chicken or whatever in their food. and also just for nonsense reasons. People can get crazy. So definitely have some good people skills and don't escalate the situation if you get a bad customer. And lastly, number 5, this job can be very demanding and needy. This also depends on the store, but your managers could be asking you to go in at any given time. You can choose to say no, but also sometimes if you're trying to request a shift off, you could get rejected. So don't expect your shift to be covered the whole time. If you do want to call out, you need to find a cover first for you before you can do that, or else sucks to suck. You have to go into work a lot of the time. All right, y'all. That's all I have to share with y'all today. And if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment below and feel free to reach out to me. I think this is a great opportunity for someone who's trying to get like a job for their first time. But I would definitely say don't stay there for your entire life. Don't stay there for longer than you need to. If there's a better opportunity, take the better opportunity. This is not one of those places where you should be staying at for a long period of time. Personally, I stayed there for 3 years, and even then, I think I stayed there for a pretty long time, maybe longer than I should have. So, yeah, and if you enjoyed my content, like my videos and hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for watching. See you till the next video. Goodbye.